This is the Mavic 3 and this is the Mavic 3 Pro. At first glance you might say the only difference is this has the third lens and this only has two lenses. Well, in this video we're going to discuss the advantages of buying the Mavic 3 Pro over the Mavic 3 and is it really worth that extra lens? What's up guys, I'm Kris Luckenbach. I am a drone pilot here in Kodiak, Alaska, and I love to make YouTube videos like this, showing off my beautiful state, some tips and tricks with drones, and I also do a lot of wildlife and other nature photography that I like to share with you guys. Both of these drones have a 24mm micro four thirds camera or lens built on the bottom. It's a Hasselblad and I'm a big fan of it. It looks great. It's a f2.8 variable aperture up to f11, and I really love that feature on a drone. Just being able to control the aperture without switching ND filters and keeping your shutter speed and ISO where you want it is a huge reason why this should be called a pro drone. They're both 20 megapixels as well, and they both have a 7x zoom. The Mavic 3 Pro got a slight buff over the Mavic 3 with that 7x lens. This Mavic 3 has a 162mm f4.4 12 megapixel lens, and it's on a half-inch sensor. This is also a half-inch sensor, but it's a f3.4, which gives you an extra stop of light, and it's 166mm, so there's just the slightest bit more of range with it, but nothing probably noticeable on a side-by-side comparison. And then finally, the Mavic 3 Pro has that third lens, 70mm equivalent on a 1 1/3 inch sensor, and it shoots at f2.8 only. That's a really exciting lens that I'm looking forward to using, and I can't wait to get out and test it and see what I can capture with these three lenses now. A great feature is if you want to upgrade, they both take the same kind of batteries, and that just makes it a lot easier to upgrade and save a couple dollars.
Forgot my dang tripod, so you guys are just sitting on a sand mound right now. Extra windy today. It is like blowing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with like 30-mile-an-hour consistent winds. We're at Surfers Beach here in Kodiak, and I'm gonna test out if the Mavic 3 Pro will connect to satellites and take off faster than the original Mavic 3. One thing I noticed is DJI changed their bag. The new bag is a little easier to get into, but the older bag feels a little more well built. I'm gonna turn on my GoPro so you guys can see this in first person here. Might not even need a battery to take off. I think we just might be good to fly just by letting the wind take it. Here we go. Let's get the drones turned on first. So we'll do these at the same time. Okay, and then the remote's turned on first, or next. The Mavic 3 is takeoff permitted. Still needs some satellites. Mavic 3 Pro has 9 satellite, 10. We're still waiting on the Mavic 3. Getting RC calibration required though. Home point's updated on the Mavic 3 Pro. And we're still waiting. 25 already. And the home point's updated. So it's a couple seconds faster. Let's see what we could do here. few times to test out this drone, and overall, I mean, the image quality and everything is great. The drone flies great. I'm really happy with everything. Few gripes that I just want to get out of the way. My friend Shane over here, I was talking to him the other day about it, and the DJI Fly app, it's with the app itself. The panorama mode, basically your shots on the side are going to be shot at like 45 degrees for some reason, and I don't know why they can't fix that. The Mavic 2 didn't have that problem on the DJI Go 4 app. It's kind of a dumb glitch. I like to just shoot my panos manually because of that, but that is definitely a time saver when you don't have to worry about lining everything up, taking 4 shots on individual. It's so much faster to do the panorama mode. Speaking of photos, when you bring them into Lightroom, it doesn't have a profile. So basically, if you like to use presets, it's not going to recognize them, and you have to do all your adjustments manually, which is not a big deal. Once again, it takes a couple seconds, but I mean, this is supposed to be a pro drone, and even iPhones have a profile on Lightroom. So I hope that's something they can address, but the Mavic 3 didn't have it, and it's been out for a year now. Only other issue I have is each lens has a different color profile. The wide angle has no profile. You can shoot D-Log or D-Log M. The 70mm lens, you can have no profile or D-Log M, and the 166mm lens doesn't have a profile. So it's kind of frustrating that you have to match the colors. It's not a big deal. I feel like I can get away with it, but once again, I wish everything was uniform. Other than that, a couple things I noticed that the Mavic 3 Pro has over the Mavic 3 is it acquires satellites about like 5 seconds faster, and I feel like the signal might be the same, if not a little bit better, but I haven't really pushed it to its limits yet. I pair it the RC Pro controller. That's a really good combination. I feel like if you're gonna get this drone, just spend the extra money, get this. I didn't like the original smart controller that comes with the cheaper one. I feel like it stutters. I feel like it loses connection. It's just not as good as the RC Pro that has the antennas that come out. Other than that, the drone is great. I'm a big fan of it. It's gonna be something that I keep for a while. I don't think DJI has plans to release a new Mavic Pro version in a long time, so at least give me 3 or 4 years. I think it's worth the upgrade if you've been flying drones for a while and you've only shot wide angle. The 70mm and the 166mm is an absolute game changer, not just for photos, but especially for videos. I love getting that awesome parallax effect of me walking along a mountaintop, and then there's another mountain in the background that looks like it's right there. It's just a really, really cool effect that the 70mm and the 166mm lens does. If you're trying to figure out if you want a new regular camera drone, or if you want a new DJI Avata or an FPV drone, click this video right up here. I really am a big fan of the FPV world now. I think it's fun flying these drones, but when you fly the Avata with goggles on your head, it is an absolute awesome experience. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.